An overcast morning. Although 20 minutes ago it was clear blue sky and already getting very warm. This is just sea fog which is drifted inland from the North Sea. By the time I finish this video, we'll be back to blue sky again. It just seems funny seeing cloudy sky. Anyway, I'm here at Clumber Park, returning again to have a look at one of our most beautiful and fantastically coloured spiders. A species only recorded here for the first time back in 2024. Is it still here? And how big will it be? Having this sea fog drifting across Lincolnshire into Nottinghamshire is very much a blessing, actually. It was very warm and sunny at home, but just after leaving Market Warsaw, I ran into this low cloud. It will burn back to the coast within an hour or so, but it's a very nice walk down this road. This road's hardly ever used now. It used to be one of the many entrances into Clumber Park, but now it's just used for National Trust staff and people that live or require access to properties in the park. So you walk down this when you come in this way. Really is beautiful, and with a respite from the heat at the moment, very nice for someone like me to weaselly wander down it, heading for the south lawns. It is of course the wasp spider which I've come to see. Hopefully we will have no problem with cattle, although by the looks of it they're out and about on Clumber's heathland already. I just hope they're not where I want to be. Well, that sun is starting to break through the sea fog which is over us, and I've now reached the spot where wasp spiders are. One was found by Nick and Samantha Brown in another area, sort of well behind camera, and that's another place that will need searching at some time this year. But there are wasp spiders still present, I can confirm. At least 4 in this first clump of Juncus here, of various ages and states of growth. And I'm very pleased at that, because with all the grazing here, I do worry about this habitat and this spider. This is the only place in Nottinghamshire where we've got it, yet it deserves or warrants no protection at all. That's a shame. We get these things and nobody's bothered about protecting them. And here's our first glimpse of this magnificent spider. This is still technically classed as a subadult female. It's not attained the bright canary yellow colouring yet on the abdomen. This one is a very pale lemon yellow. You may well be able to see just at the bottom of the screen, behind that sort of dead Juncus stem that goes up at about an 11 o'clock angle, there is a male tucked in there. The males are amazingly small. I'm surprised, but there are a number of males almost attached or in close proximity to these females. And this isn't the largest of the wasp spiders here. There is a full-grown female to the left of this particular one, and there's another wasp spider but smaller behind this one. But they are beautifully marked. So he wants adult, that lemon yellow colouring of the ground colour. The abdomen becomes a bright yellow, and the stripes, the horizontal stripes along the abdomen, across the abdomen, become more evident. These are at an earlier stage than they were when we first came to look at these in late July of 2024. but I'm just so pleased that they're here. What a fabulous spider. And there's the male, considerably smaller than the female, tiny in proportion. I didn't expect there to be such a size difference. We never saw males last year, but there are several here today. Well, I mentioned while we were looking at that last female that there was a mature specimen just to the left, and this is her, complete with stabilimentum. That's the sort of zigzag pattern, a thick web that goes upwards and downwards from the centre of the web in which she rests. And you're looking at the underside of her. We're getting up close and personal with this one, and you can see just how beautiful they are. And for such a strikingly marked spider, whether you see them from underneath or from above, they're very difficult to spot. These build a quite large orb web, yet it's very inconspicuous. And you can see she's finishing off something that she's caught a while ago, but beautifully coloured. That's the canary yellow, those two stripes running along the abdomen there. Absolutely beautiful. I still get a thrill out of seeing these. In fact, there's a male coming down here, so it looks like all 4 or 5 females in this particular clump have males in attendance. And like many male spiders, they will remain on the perimeter. Well, now you can see that fabulous mature female from above, and you can see how the yellow coloration is more intense. Stunningly beautiful spiders, they really are. And those attenuated legs, beautifully striped. But it's the abdomen that's the striking aspect of this spider. Quite oval shaped, quite unusual really in terms of UK spiders. And you would think with the coloration being as it is that it would be a very easy thing to find, but I can assure you if you go looking for these in grass or in Juncus like this, they're not easy at all, not until you've got your eye in and you know exactly what you're looking for. But I'm surprised at the size difference between the 5 that are here. But what a beautiful spider. Well, I thought this was a juvenile female, but it's not. It's an immature male, and you can see how the palps are bulbous. This one has caught something, but it's not yet mature. It's got a molt to go. And it is in close proximity to a female. Seems as though immature males obviously seek out females, keep a safe distance, and then wait until they're matured. So I'm pleased to see this and get this shot. Very differently marked. So this one will molt very shortly, and then will be caught in that female. Well, here's the immature female, certainly subadult. And one thing that does change is obviously the size of the abdomen, but when younger they are narrower like this, quite different when they reach maturity. Obviously females become full of eggs, and based on what we saw last year, at least 2 egg sacs are made per female. But it's nice to be able to see how the markings on the abdomen changes as this spider matures. We didn't get to see this last year. They were all mature at the time when they were found, and when I came along to look for them, and then later came with Nick and Samantha Brownlee to do a proper count. Amazing things. It's amazing that we have them in Nottinghamshire. They are elsewhere in Nottinghamshire. They have to be elsewhere. Pit tops have got to be the place to look, almost certainly. Where else are they in Nottinghamshire? I just found this female here, and she's obviously mature. Look how dark the annulations are on the legs to those spiders that we've already looked at. But if you notice the abdomen, look how thin and emaciated the abdomen is. I think this one has produced an egg sac somewhere, and the egg sacs are large. They're a good sort of inch in circumference, and so they're a large papery ball, usually built or located close to the edge of the web, but I can't see one. They're normally built sort of lower down, but I can't see one here. But I'm convinced that she's produced an egg sac somewhere. Another female with a fine example of a stabilimentum. Not like the stabilimentum on Cyclosa conica webs, which does adorn that stabilimentum with prey items. Wasp spiders don't seem to, and this one is still an immature, but she does have a tiny male in attendance. They do vary considerably. We've seen other wasp spiders here this morning, this size, but without that lemon yellow coloration. This one is feeding on something that's been caught overnight. And there's a nice view of the male accompanying this female. Similar markings underneath, but the size difference is enormous. That surprised me today. For many orb weavers, the males find and locate a female and stay with that female in close proximity until the time is right for pairing to take place. I'm glad that I came here early because the sun's starting to break through now with increasing regularity, and it's starting to get very warm indeed, and I want to be home before we get to the hottest part of the day. I'm so pleased to find that these spiders are still here. I knew that by coming during the winter and looking for the egg sacs of wasp spiders that they would be here, but it's just with the ravages of cattle in here grazing this area, lying down even in the Juncus, it's easy for this species to be wiped out from here. I think it warrants a degree of protection, and that protection only means 4 or 6 fence posts and a bit of wire around these 2 stands of Juncus. At least these would be protected. Is that too much to ask for a spider which is only found here in Clumber Park in Nottinghamshire? It's not even common in any Midlands county as far as I'm aware, so it's still very much a species that I think needs protection. This may well be the most northerly record in the UK, but it's here, and thankfully it's remained here from being discovered back in 2024. No egg sacs visible on my searches through, but I found over a dozen females and half a dozen or so males, so I'm pleased with that. I've not had a thorough search because my priority today was to just see whether the wasp spider was indeed still here at Clumber. I told you it'd be sunny by the end of this video. Not a cloud in the sky.